Welcome to Serving Pancakes with League One Volleyball. I'm your host, Tiffany Oshinsky, and I'm inviting you to join me as I go behind the scenes with some of the most important people in volleyball. From funny anecdotes to words of wisdom and some fun facts sprinkled in about your favorite sport, Serving Pancakes will satiate your appetite and have you asking for seconds. So take a seat while I serve you up some pancakes.
Hello.
Hi. Well, Dawson, good to see you.
You too.
You're coming.
Of course.
Have a seat.
Oh, I'm so excited.
Amazing pancakes here. Actually, I gotta ask you first before we even start the interview.
Yeah.
So if you were going to have your own diner, you're opening up Lauren's Diner,
Okay.
what would be your signature pancake?
My signature pancake. Oh, I wish I could say I was like above basic, but I'm not. I love me a good like thick buttermilk. The bigger the better. I want it nice and floofy, but then we're just going to keep it super basic. If you really want some chocolate chips, fine.
My kids would want that.
Yeah, I do like all new little Tommy's here. We got strawberries, bananas, blueberries, and some good old maple syrup. Super basic, yeah.
All right. Are you going basic right now? Because I'm going to add some blueberries to mine.
Okay, I might have a little bit of fruit.
Yes.
But
get in there.
Other than that, pretty much.
Some blueberries, some, berry pancakes. I actually went to this awesome little cafe by my house that does like this amazing berry pancake where they literally just muddle all the berries together and then spread it on the pancakes like as if it was a syrup.
Oh my. I do love a good jam. Like I will say I'm not gonna lie to you, I don't know the name of it. But it's just a little like homemade strawberry jam. I think that comes straight out of the fridge. Delicious.
I love it.
Yeah. Oh, we got some syrup here too.
Yeah.
Is this Canadian?
It's from the most maplest maple tree you'll ever find.
That's right. I love that. Is this like, oh my gosh, I love me some French press coffee too. Big coffee gal.
Oh yeah?
So like, that's probably one of my big dreams is to have a coffee shop one day.
No way.
And then at night it turns into a wine bar. So this kind of like 1-2 punch.
Can I be invited to your open?
Yeah. You can. The thing is, not a big chef myself, so gotta find me one of those. So
what would you name
if anyone's interested. Oh girl, you're getting way ahead of me. I don't know. Is this super basic? Carlini's Cafe?
No.
But then you gotta do something for the wine part of it too, like the evening aperitivo.
Carlini's Cafe and Wine Bar.
There you go. Why, yeah. If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
I love it.
Oh my.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Delicious pancakes. All right, so I have to start all the way back at the beginning.
Okay, run it back.
What did you want to be when you grew up? Before volleyball was even in the picture, what was little Lauren wanting to be?
That's hard because I feel like since I have memories, I was always in the gym. And so,
really?
Yeah. I was in the gym from like basically when I was in the womb, came out of the womb, I was still in the gym. Yeah, I was just always, my mom was playing in these like nightly leagues. And so Monday nights, Wednesday nights, I was always there just playing against the wall, peppering by myself, just messing around with the ball before I even knew really what the sport was. And so that was just my kind of initiator into the sport. I started at like 5-6 years old, like on a club team. And so wow. I wish I could say, I wanted to be this or that, but I think I really wanted to be a volleyball player from day one.
That's amazing.
I had a lot of respect for first responders, with my dad being a firefighter, though I would never have wanted to go into that profession myself. So I think, I probably would say volleyball player.
So when did you know that you were good, though? That you knew that this was going to be the right thing?
Yeah, I think it took a little bit because I started so young. Everyone that I was playing with was anywhere between like 2 and 5 years older than me. And so I was a little libero for a while, and I had spandex that looked like swim trunks that, were flared out. And so it took me a while to kind of understand the game, figure out what my niche was, and kind of how I was going to play as a player and who I was going to become. And so I think I finally realized I was getting good. Maybe my 13s year, that is actually when recruiting kind of started back in my day. Having college coaches be interested and wanting to go to camps and just kind of transitioning into a setter role that was my first year of actually becoming a setter. I loved being a ball hog in a sense. And so I'm like, I get to
touch
every single play. I get a part of it. Yeah, I'm in. And so that helped simmer down like my control freak side of things. But I think it was, probably when I was 13 is when I realized like this can be something big.
What else are you a control freak about?
Not that much anymore. Okay, I will say I've like simmered down quite a bit. But being the oldest child, I would always force my younger siblings into playing school. And naturally, I would be the principal, the teacher. I would do all the grading, and they would have to be the students that do the homework. And they didn't like that so much. But I would say, I've grown out of that a little bit and, kind of found what works for me in that sense.
Well, you could have been a principal or a teacher, maybe.
You know what? More respect, all the power to them in dealing with kids, because good for them. I don't know how they did it, for myself included. So, more power to them.
Now, you started going to Wisconsin for camps at what age?
I was in 6th or 7th grade.
Okay.
I don't remember the exact date, but 6th or 7th grade when I started getting in contact with the coaching staff there.
Wow.
And my initial thing was like, whoa, there's this girl named Maria Carlini who plays for the Badgers. This woman has the same last name as us, but has no relation. Like, that was a really cool connection that we had. And so that is what initially got me going to Wisconsin, the games, the camps. So at a really young age, just kind of built that connection not only with the staff, but with some of the players as well.
So you always knew you wanted to go to Wisconsin. That was the dream.
I did. I'm not going to lie. This was also during the glory days of Penn State, the dynasty era. And so I dabbled a little bit with the idea of wanting to go to Penn State. And I remember Russ Rose sending a signed ball and a little note saying, like, looking forward to your future, da-da-da. But I would say overall it was Wisconsin from day one. A lot would have had to have happened for me to not go there.
So you reaching out to the coaches at Wisconsin kind of reminds me. So I was supposed to go to Penn State to play. That was my trajectory in life for a period of time. And I started going to the Penn State camps when I was 13. Mm-hmm. And thanks to my dad, we printed up business cards.
Oh, official.
Official business cards from our printer, from our Epson or whatever it was, with a volleyball and my name and my phone number on it. And I went up to Russ Rose as a 13-year-old and gave him my business card.
I bet he got a hoot.
Oh, well, then my dad, when he came to pick me up, because they do, court coaches and you get to play in front of everybody, my dad saw him and went up to him and coach was like, business card. I was like, it worked.
Memorable. That's all that matters. Marketing, you're memorable.
Right? Yep. But that was my dream, to go to Penn State, just like you to go to Wisconsin.
Yep.
But then I got into film school and I went.
And we swerved careers.
Here
we are.
Yeah. But we're here.
That's right.
Pancakes, and that's all that matters.
That's right.
So I have to ask you. So you're from Aurora, Illinois.
Yep.
Near Chicago. Mm-hmm. A lot of fun. Wisconsin.
Yeah.
What was it? Similar? Different? I mean, was it more cornfields and suburban, or was it actually like a really good time?
It was a great time.
Yeah.
I think that was one of the main draws of me wanting to go to Wisconsin. Obviously, going to camps every year, kind of understanding the dynamic of the team and what went on outside of court hours. I think that was a little bit of the draw for me, was like, hey, I get to go to a school that has great education, great athletics, and you get to have a lot of fun off the court, and enjoy your time while you're up there. And for me, it was really important to be able to have my family close enough to where they can come and watch the games. And if, I was feeling homesick, whatever, I could go home pretty easily. So it was 2 hours door to door. So it worked out perfect. Really, it was the best of all worlds, where my family was there for every home match. And I was able to go home when I wanted, and it was only 2 hours away. And so I had just the absolute best experience at Wisconsin. And gosh, I'm just so excited that I get to call that place home now. Truly.
Yeah. Well, you just bought a house there.
I did.
So what was that like, buying your first house? I mean, what was that experience like? And, decorating everything.
Oh, it's expensive, first off. It's a little shock to the system with the bank account, but it's so fun because it's yours. And for those of us who have played professionally now for 1, 2, 3 quads, we don't have a home. We live out of suitcases. And so now being able to call a place my own and buy my own furniture and kind of decorate it how I want to, it's a really cool like turning point in my life. And so it's slowly but surely coming together. It's been really fun to just kind of go and like window shop and try and curate what I want. But I'm just so looking forward to being there full time and yeah, just having a place to call home and go back to.
Do you have an eye for decorating?
No. Pinterest has done great. Pottery Barn, West Elm are like my go-tos. Mm-hmm. I have an idea of what I want to get at. I will say, again, just very minimalist, natural, with some, I love olive green. So we're going for splashes of like olive green and everywhere. So yeah.
Pinterest. It's a real life Pinterest board.
There you go. Exactly.
So when you were playing in Wisconsin, did you know that you wanted to continue and keep playing?
For sure. I will say when you're in college, at least when you were in college, you really didn't know anything about professional volleyball, playing overseas. It was just this like unknown world. And so I will say having people like Krista Harmato, who I reached out to, Alicia Glass, being able to chat with them about like, hey, what can we expect when we go overseas? Like, what is a good number I should be shooting for? What are some good countries to be playing in? Culture things to be aware of. There's just so much that you're unaware of. And I think that's why so many girls after a half season, one season overseas, they're like, this is terrible, I'm done. Because it is such a shock to the system. You just don't know what to expect. And so, yeah, for me, it was, I knew I wanted to play professionally. I knew it was probably going to be a challenge being overseas for anywhere between 6 and 8 months of the year. But that was something that we had to do and we had to sacrifice in order to be on the national team to try and become an Olympian.
Right. How does the process work of playing professionally? How do you get picked?
So at least in my experience, it was at the AVCA Final Four. So this is in December. If you're graduating in the spring, you have a little bit more time to kind of figure it out. But if you're graduating in December, it's like 2-week process. You're choosing, you're getting an agent, you're going overseas. And so I luckily had all spring to kind of decide. But step one, get an agent. I found someone who was in Italy, and he's been great just because he has his boots on the grounds there. He knows teams, owners, a lot of connections. That's what you're looking for. And so we were kind of just figuring out, okay, what teams need setters for next season, and ended up starting out in Italy and signing that contract. I want to say it was in April or May. And so it was fun, like, whoa, I just signed my big girl contract and got enough money for down payment on my car, which was great. But that was the first step into like adulthood and playing overseas and kind of figuring out that world. So there's a lot of steps that go into it. Your first year, you don't realize that you need to bring peanut butter, vanilla extract. If you want like good smelling like laundry beads, gotta bring those. Like there's so many little things that you don't realize that you just learn. When you get over there, you're like, wow, I need some Jif immediately. And if you don't have it, you're gonna spend $10 at the grocery store to buy it. So yeah, there's a lot of learning experiences when you get over there, but it's cool. I'm glad to have, been able to do that and experience different cultures and people, but there's a lot of growing pains in there as well.
How much downtime do you have when you're overseas to explore?
Oh, too much.
Oh, really?
That was one of the things. My first year overseas, I did not realize how much free time you had. Like, literally, in college, it's, okay, I have to wake up, I have to go to lift, then I have to shower, immediately go to class. In between, I'm doing study hall, practice. Your day is timed out from the second you wake up to the second you go to bed. Then you get overseas and you're like, I have to find hobbies and things to pass the time. That was really difficult to like be completely by myself. I didn't have any other Americans on my team my first year. And so it was really being thrown into full independence and autonomy. And so, yeah, it was like, okay, I guess I'm taking up reading and journaling and I'm going to go outside and enjoy the sun. And I wish I would have embraced being in that a little bit more than what I did, because I was literally living in the vineyards of Florence. We're better. Yeah. But at the time it was like, I'm so alone and I don't have any hobbies and I'm trying to find, things to pass the time that I'm really not enjoying that much. So it was a tough balance at times.
So I lived in Florence for the summer.
Yeah.
And I just remember going to get pizza, gelato, like any live music I could find.
Yep.
I fell in love with gnocchi Alfredo out there.
Wait, Alfredo?
Oh, yeah. They didn't like it when I would ask for it, but
There's no way they made this for you.
Well, it was like a cream sauce, but then I translated it to Alfredo when I came back to the States. But, I loved it.
Yeah, I think Florence is still one of my favorite cities in the entire world. I'm not sure if you had the same experience, but there's just like this magical aura about it. Like when you're in the city, it's small and welcoming and inviting, and there's just something so unique about it. I loved Florence so much.
Same. I'm right there with you. One of my favorite cities I've ever visited.
Agreed. Beautiful.
Do you ever go back?
Let's see. Well, when I was there, that was my first season. The next season I was in Novara, which was right outside Milan.
Okay.
So got to Florence whenever I could, especially when we played the team there. And then the third year I was in Parma, which is like right in the middle of Italy, and was able to go to Florence, I think twice that year. So yeah, whenever I can, I make it back there, but I haven't made it back in a couple of years now.
All right.
So hopefully soon.
Yeah. Well, you said that you read a lot.
Yeah.
So what kind of books do you read? Do you still read a lot?
I do. I've definitely transitioned. I would say when I was in my dark girl era back in Italy, it was more reading a lot of military books. Really into kind of just World War II, special ops. And so I was reading a lot about that and their mentality and how they kind of go about things. Because what they do is like the top of the top, right? In terms of just execution, teamwork, just mental capacity to handle a lot of different things. So I really appreciate that. So I was reading a ton of those, a little bit of self-help, and I would say I've transitioned away from that now. I'm way more into like the Colleen Hoovers, the Emily Henrys, like we're reading summer beach reads and romance, a little more lighter side of things. So I would say that's my go-to right now.
All right. Do you guys have a book club on the team? Because I feel like a lot of you read.
I want to say at one point we were kind of passing books around. Whenever we're on trips, like whenever we're overseas and we're on a 3-week trip, it's like we each bring 2 books, we read it, and then we pass it around to each other. So that's been lovely and something that we've done the past couple of years.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, so going back to the U.S. women's team. Now, I know in 2020, you were one of the women who was not picked for the 12-man roster. Mm-hmm. So what was going through your mind? Did that make you want to train harder? Did it make you want to stop playing? What was your thought process?
Yeah, I would say a little bit of everything, right? So we were in a bubble when we got the announcement. So that part, I think, was honestly the hardest. Just having to... We're all in the same hotel, like my teammates are across the hall. And having to digest all of that information and kind of the reality of it in, 12 hours before we have to decide whether or not we're going to go to practice the next day. Because we were given the freedom to choose, if you're not one of the 12, take a day and, take your time to kind of digest the information. And so as alternates, we all chose like, hey, we're here for the team. This is our priority, even though it's like it sucks that we didn't make the roster and it's really hard. We're here to do the hard things. And so we decided to go to practice that day and give everything we could to our teammates. And yeah, it was hard. It was really tough to just be like, dang, this is the team that's going to go represent us in Tokyo. And obviously they chose the best group they could, and they won gold, and they've done incredible things for this program. And so seeing that result at the end of it made it worth it. But did it make it easier? Of course not. And so after that, went home for, I think we got 1 week, 2 weeks free maybe, and was just with friends and family, and got back in the gym. And at that point it was like, okay, I'm just going to be the best teammate I can possibly be. Like, we are here to, again, do the hard things. And so practicing all the way up until they left for Tokyo. And it did take me a little bit. I went to Turkey after that for my professional team. And it was hard to be like, all right, it's time to flip the switch, and we're looking forward to the next quad. We're looking forward to what's next. So I would say it took me a little bit to kind of get back on track. But within a few weeks, I was like, all right, we're going to get better. We're going to make sure that this doesn't happen again.
What advice do you have to girls, women, any players who hit that point where they want to make this team. They, they're good enough to make this team. And then, but obviously not everyone can make it, right? So what advice do you have for anyone who's in that spot?
I think one is before the decision is even made, just give yourself the best chance possible. Even now, as we're going through this process of being hopefully on the roster of 12 for Paris, it's, am I doing everything I possibly can so that at the end of the day, I don't have any regrets? So that's the first thing, is like going 110% in every single day. The second thing is just being a really good teammate and knowing that, like, hey, a roster is going to be chosen. There is basically a decision to be made, and it doesn't take away anything from you as a player, as a person. The roster just didn't go your way this time. And so there's this balance of like acceptance, but also like making it as hard as you can on the coaches or the staff, whoever it may be, to make that decision. And then I think the biggest thing for me, especially now being at the end of this journey, is like, again, I don't want any regrets. I don't want anything saying, oh, I left this on the table. So yeah, give it your all. Be the best teammate you can possibly be. Support others, because there's no point in bringing other people down. People are going to see that it's being very inauthentic, unauthentic. And so yeah, just be the best you can and make the decision as hard as possible for the staff.
For the final 12, is it just the coaches deciding, or is it?
As far as I know now, that the case was different in Tokyo. It was a staff and us girls also voted. Oh, okay. So it was kind of
was it just
a team-wide. I think it was just where our team was at. We hadn't played together in a year because of COVID. And so it was more about like vibes and feelings and who was the best fit and who would you want to go to war with next to you. So again, I'm not sure if that's the case this time around, but either way, like I know our team, we've set ourselves up well to make that decision if it comes to it.
You girls seem very close.
Yeah.
I mean, I looked at your Instagrams and everything, and it's like a lot of awesome pictures in different locations, girls visiting each other in different cities, birthday party celebrations, stuff like that. Do you just find that everyone's easy to connect with because you've been on this incredible journey together, or is it also just about who you all are as a person?
First off, I think we have the best girls on the entire planet. Like, literally, I'm having conversations with people in the weight room or just when we're at lunch or dinner, whatever it may be, and I'm like, these girls are incredible. Not only humans, but athletes, and just people, like who they are to their core. And I think that is a major key as to why we are so successful and why we are so close, is because we're all friends. And we were actually talking about this the other day, where it's like, we're so lucky to be in a team setting and a team sport where you have friends built in. Like, you don't need to go into the community and say like, oh, I'm going to go join this group and see this Facebook friend place. And no, like, we are each other's people. There's a lot of power in that. And so between being just genuine, great humans, having a built-in sense of friendship on a team, and then us being on this journey now for almost 8 years, the majority of us, we've gone through a lot of hard things. We've all played overseas for many years and understand the dynamics of being over there and how valuable it is to meet up with each other in Istanbul or Italy, wherever it may be, even if it's just to speak English for a couple hours. There is so many of these like nuances that people outside of our bubble, our circle, just can't comprehend or understand. And so there's great friendships that are going to last a lifetime. And it's not only because we're doing great things on the court, but because we truly enjoy each other's company off the court as well.
And a bunch of you are now going to be playing with each other.
Yeah.
For love. I mean, Madison, Omaha for some of the girls.
Yeah.
So what does it feel like to know that you're now playing together again, but in the States and families close by?
It's so fun now because we get to see each other literally every single weekend on our home turfs with all of our friends and family. Until like that alone, I'm like, say less. I was in, because it's like I get to play with these people and play against these people, which is like, it's college all over again, but now at an even higher level of volleyball, which is insane to think about. And so, yeah, I'm just so pumped to be able to be building this from the ground up with these incredible women. And I think we're going about things the right way. We have the right people on board. And so I'm just so excited to see, what it brings and the results of all this.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but were you considering retiring from volleyball at some point?
Mm-hmm.
What
Yeah.
What did you want to do? Like, what were you ready to do? Or thought you were ready to do? Because
who knows? I would say, honestly, I didn't know. I think a couple of years ago, before professional volleyball talks were in the question for the United States, I kind of knew after 2 quads I was going to be done with national team. And so that also means done professionally. Like, I wouldn't want to just play overseas just to play overseas. And so it was kind of like this great abyss that I was looking into, and I had no idea what was on the other side of it. So it was kind of just incredible timing and luck that Love came into the picture and was like, hey, right after Paris, we're launching this league. And I was like, my body still feels pretty good. And the old mind is feeling pretty good too. And so when they said a possible team is going to be in Madison, I was like, where do I sign? It was just right time, right place, right people. It was kind of, this like synergy of things happening. I don't even like to think about what would have happened if I didn't. Maybe I would have tried to get into coaching. That's kind of been like piquing my interest as of late at the college level, at least. For now, it's let's play. Let's see what this league can do. Let's see what this team has built. This program has built. Let's give it a run.
I love it. So you're going to be back in Madison.
Yeah.
So I have to ask you this because you're from Aurora, Illinois. Mm-hmm. Are you a Bears fan or a Packers fan?
Oh, God, I got to go on record now.
So I feel like that's it's a contentious situation.
Listen,
there.
if we're being honest, the Packers are way better, okay? But I can't say their slogan. I just cannot say it. I'm sorry, Packers fans. I'm unfortunately a Bears fan for now until they're good. I don't think they've been good since, 2005.
Right.
They made one good run back in the day, and since then it's just been sad. But my dad, Tony, he's still wearing his Bears stuff every single Sunday just to lose. Oh. Since I'm from Chicago, I have to say I'm a Bears fan.
All right, fair enough.
I'm more of a players girl. I follow people that I like who played at Wisconsin. We became friends, so now they're in the Steelers or Texans, whatever it may be. So. You're a Steelers gal. She's a Pittsburgh gal.
Sure am.
All right.
I had to ask because I'm like, that's, those are warring factions right there.
Oh, that's for sure. That's for sure, yeah. But I will say, sorry, Spotted Cow is the best. Wisconsin beer is where it's at.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
All right.
The brewery scene is popping off up there. Oh. Yeah, Milwaukee Brewers.
I know a bunch of beer in, some places, but the bigger names, less than, the smaller craft beers that are popping up around that probably make better beer.
There you go. Yeah, exactly. You got to go to those little local small businesses.
Exactly. So I want to ask you a question that I don't know if you're prepared to answer, but
let's see what you got.
What is something that no one really knows about you that you want people to know about you?
So I love dogs so much. Okay, I really do. So I just started a Rover literally 2 weeks ago because I want to go walk dogs. I'm missing my 3 dogs from home. And so I'm thinking about starting a dog walking business in Madison when I get there. Just putting that out there. For anyone's dogs who need to be walked or watched or fed or played with. So yeah, I'm a big dog lover. Joined a couple animal shelters as well just to go and help out and volunteer. Not related to dogs because I feel like that's such an easy thing, right? Everyone loves dogs unless you're a cat person. You're a cat person?
I am.
Most of our team are cat people.
Really?
Yeah, because they're easy to take overseas. That you just take them in their little carrier and do. But I don't know when I'm going to get a dog. Hopefully somewhat in the near future. Something else. Do I have a type?
Do you have a type? Yes. A type of dog that you would like to get, or are you kind of adopting, just bring in the love of whoever needs love?
I do this is so, again, I'm very basic. Golden retrievers, right? I do love Bernedoodles, but I think they have a lot of health problems. My dogs now, they're called walruses. They are Shar-Pei mixes with either Basset Hound or Beagle. So they're little scrunchy guys. They're so cute, though. Aww. I think you got to let the dog speak to you, right? You got to make eye contact and feel their energy. That sounds so weird, but
no, but I know
true.
what you mean though, because dogs it's a personality thing.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. Other than dogs, no, I'm just I'm a really big foodie, I will say. And so, I don't know, I would totally love to start my own business one day or be co-founder of, cafe, wine bar, whatever it may be, attached to a yoga studio.
Oh.
Like, I am a little bit more than volleyball. A little bit. I like to eat. I like to drink.
Since you're 5, right? So
right.
It's like in your life.
I am volleyball. No, but I love to eat and drink, explore new places, and I love to do yoga. I love cross-training with yoga. I think it's a really great balance just to stay limber. You probably wanted something a little more deep there, but that's all I got for you.
No, deep because I love that.
Yeah.
Because I love food, too. Do you cook?
I do. I would say I'm like the 20-minute sheet pan queen.
Oh. So, like, what's your specialty?
Oh, usually it's salmon with some type of, I like sweet potatoes, especially, and then I'll throw a couple vegetables on there because you got to balance. I also, when I was in Italy, pasta and just the quality of ingredients there is so good. And so I would just make different pastas like every other night. But salmon is a really big one for me. Love my fish.
You and my husband literally make the same meal. He makes either chicken or salmon and sweet potatoes with a salad.
Oh,
there's his finish.
Mr. Health.
Right? Yeah.
We love that.
Not me.
Yeah, I know. You're like, where's my donuts for dessert?
Where's my pancakes?
Where's my pancakes? Speaking of, I know. Now that they're cold, that's fine.
It's okay. Pancakes are good at all temperatures.
I love me a good, breakfast for dinner. Mm. Pancakes, waffles. People really get into, what is it, the chicken and waffles? Mm-hmm. That's one thing I can't get into. It's like a southern thing, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm from the north.
Yeah, I'm from Northeast, so I like just like my bread products with butter.
Yeah. Literally, I remember it's still the case now if you walked into my dad's house, but there's one of my friends, Sarah, she would walk into the house and she'd be like, oh, there's the carb cabinet, because it was just bread. Just white bread, rolls, you got the hot dogs, hamburger buns, everything. And big carb household.
So going back to volleyball,
yep.
What do you want your legacy to be? Especially now that you're able to play here in the States in front of people.
I think for me it was, I guess it is about growing the game, especially in Wisconsin, in Madison. I think these fans deserve it. They've been with us since day one, and it's just only grown in terms of popularity and attendance and buy-in from them especially. And so, of course, starting it on my home ground of Madison and growing the game there, making it as big as possible, as popular as possible, and expanding that nationally. I think we're there. I think it's the right time. It's the right place. Like I said, the right people are on board. The numbers are speaking for themselves that, it's time for volleyball to take off. And so I want to be a part of that. I want to be a spokesperson for love. I want to be, I guess just show that passion through my play and how I present myself in the community. So that is kind of what I want to leave behind.
Love that.
Yeah.
Speaking of numbers and how it's clearly growing, Nebraska just set the record for most in attendance at a female or a women's sporting event.
Yep.
But Wisconsin held that before for volleyball.
Oh, we're just
I was going to say,
we're just going back and forth. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. And it's one of these things where, John Cook and Kelly Sheffield are kind of going back and forth, and it's great for the game. You couldn't ask for anything more in terms of two figureheads who are like, hey, how can we make this even bigger? How can we make this even better? And it's healthy competition, and it's drawing the attention of everyone nationally. And on the grander scheme of things, you have people like Caitlin Clark and NCAA women's basketball, where I think I can attest that the women's game was a little bit more visible, and you can name more women on the court versus the men's NCAA. So we're seeing this shift in dynamics of men's and women's sports, and women's really starting to take off. And so riding the coattails in a sense and kind of starting to pave our own path in the volleyball world, I think we're on the right track, and I'm really excited to see where this goes.
Well, speaking of the college game, these girls, guys and girls, right? They now are able to capitalize thanks to NIL, get their names out more.
Yeah.
When you were playing, did you ever think that would happen?
No, you can take a granola bar without getting yelled at. It was it's downpouring rain and sleeting, but coaches can't give you a ride home. So they're like, have fun walking. Now, girls are getting cars and, whatever else you want. But I think it's great that the game is going in that direction. To be able to, monetize ourselves. I think when I was in school, it was more like, we didn't really question it. It was just like, hey, this is the way it is. It stinks, like it would have been nice to have some jersey sales or, have a coffee brand who was like, here, take a free cup every 5 times.
Started your cafe back in college.
What could have been? Yeah. But here we are now, and people are, rightfully so, getting what is deserved as athletes and, their image. So I think it's great. Do I think it's a little wild right now with the transfer portal and NIL and sponsorships and all of this? Maybe. But I think, again, it's good to be able to have freedom now. We can reel it back a little bit, maybe later, but amazing where we're at and where the sport's going.
Now, I know that you obviously didn't experience the NIL and all this kind of stuff, but seeing it now and kind of being older and having a more adult mindset towards it, what kind of advice do you have for girls who want to play volleyball and are coming up that are soon going to have this opportunity for NIL as well?
I think embrace it, right? Like you only get 4 years of it, and you have 4 years to kind of promote yourself, and you have these amazing opportunities at your hands. And so doing that and really using your full potential, but at the same time really being smart about your money. Like I think people talk about the NBA a lot, and people who all of a sudden come into money and then 2 years later they're broke because they don't know how to handle all of this. And so I think that's another dynamic that's going to come into play where it's like, hey, let's be really smart about this and let's take care of our money and not just blow it all on one car. It's okay, are we doing what we enjoy? Are we finding joy in this? And does it bring me, passion also? And how are we being smart about this so that we can kind of grow on it and live on this for a while? Because that money is there. And I think that's something really cool.
So with Love starting with the growth of women's sports and volleyball, where do you see the sport in 5-10 years? Where do you hope to see the sport?
Where I hope to see the sport, I hope that we're regularly on national TV channels. Almost every single game is being shown on these channels. Thousands and 100,000s. This is normal for us, for our viewership. In terms of in-arena matches, I want us playing in big arenas. I want us having that experience, but also having the fans experience it so they're not feeling like they're in the nosebleeds and they're watching nosebleed game. No, it's, hey, we are all immersed in it. Like, how do we make this best, not only for the players, for the athletes, coaches, but how do we make it also a great fan experience? And I think this is something the NFL has done a great job of, is they have jumbotrons everywhere. They have you guys would know better, with the cameras and diving on the field and making it look like a video game. Like, how do we make our sport that? But make it feminine, make it very powerful, and I think it's going to be a really cool change in dynamic the next couple of years, but I want it to be the next biggest thing. I want it to be the next big pro league in the States.
I love it so much.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for your time. We got to cheers.
Oh.
Because this was a wonderful conversation.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Cheers.
And thank you for having pancakes with me.
Oh, of course. My pleasure. Anytime.
Thanks for watching Serving Pancakes. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button. You can also listen to the podcast version on the iHeart Radio app or wherever you get your podcasts.